Welcome everybody to our special meeting. We have a few housekeeping measures that we have to go through. Let's call the meeting to order at 7:06 p.m. And I'm going to turn over to Kurt to read the piece we need to get going.
Information regarding this remote electronic public meeting on March 14th, 2020 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic and in an effort to reduce the risk of transmission by virtue of attendance at public meetings, Governor Lamont suspended in-person open meeting requirements and permits conducted public meetings remotely by conference call, video conference, or other technology. Well, a copy of the full text of Executive Order number 7B1 is available for review on the Town of Monroe's website, www.monroect.org. Accordingly, the Town of Monroe has selected GoToMeeting as a preferred technology application to conduct this remote public meeting in compliance with Executive Order number 7B1. This technology will permit up to 250 members of the public to participate in real time in the public meeting via computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone by the access information set forth on this meeting agenda. It is highly recommended that any interested participant download and utilize GoToMeeting software applications, which are available on the meeting link below prior to the commencement of the meeting. Each meeting may have unique participation information, including access code, phone number, and live link. Please be sure that you are accessing the correct information for the correct meeting. Any members of the public who desire to submit written information relative to the business set forth in the agenda may do so up to 1 hour in advance of the meeting via electronic mail to the address set forth on this meeting agenda. Notice is hereby given that this remote electronic meeting shall, number 1, permit the public to view and listen or listen anonymously, and when permitted, participate in real time. 2, be recorded and posted to the town's website within 7 days. 3, be made available to the public within a reasonable time in town hall or upon written request. In addition to standard parliamentary procedures outlined in this agenda, the special following rules shall apply to all participants. Please mute your microphone so as to reduce background noise at any time you are not speaking. Prior to speaking on each occasion, each speaker shall clearly state their name and title for the record. The use of the chat feature are prohibited and will not be considered during the meeting if in use. Notice is hereby given that only up to 250 member participants may access this remote electronic public meeting at any one time. Access is granted solely by GoToMeeting technology on first access basis and is not within the control of the Town of Monroe. While it is anticipated that this participant limit will be sufficient, should the participants reach said limit, the meeting may be adjourned and continue at a later date using technology appropriate to ensure all members of the public may participate.
That was very helpful. Thank you, Kurt. Appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see all your faces. I don't know how many more of these electronic meetings we're going to do, but I think it's worked out fairly well. And depending on what your feedback is, we'll decide whether we should continue doing it electronically or whether you'd rather do it in person. I'm feeling much safer than I did a year ago, and I hope you all are too. So moving right along, we're going to move on to approval of the minutes from the May 4th meeting. The vote anticipated. Everybody had a chance to take a look at the minutes that were sent out by Kurt. And thank you, Rose, very much for your beautiful preparation on them. They look terrific.
You're welcome.
Rose, why is my name not in the list of commission members?
You weren't at the last meeting, Betty.
Oh. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I guess, Rose, for this one, you could list those present and those commission members absent.
Okay.
Do you need a motion to approve them?
I think Fred's still reviewing some.
Yep, I'm just checking. I read it earlier. Look, I didn't see anything that jumped out at me. So
okay,
I've
reviewed it. So if you'd like to make a motion, that'd be great.
I, as a commission member, Elizabeth Heaney, as a commission member, approve the minutes of May 8th.
May 4th.
Great. Any seconds?
Okay. Fred Velarde, commission member. I second that motion that we approve the minutes.
Great. So all in favor of approving the minutes as we have them? Aye.
Aye.
Minutes approved. Thank you. Moving on to the next section. We're going on to the general manager's report, starting with the September fundraising drive.
Yes, the September fundraising drive started on Thursday, ended on Sunday. It was pretty successful. We got over $60,000 in, and we did it in just 4 days. So we have now done half-length drives for, this is our fourth regular drive that's half the length, and we're raising about the same amount of money. There's subtleties that we have to guess as to why maybe it wasn't $3,000 or $4,000 more than before. For example, a year ago, pandemic, everyone was in lockdown, there was no vaccine. Now there's vaccine, people are going out and about, doing things, spending money, but still we did raise over $60,000. So we're doing pretty good. We ended up getting, oh God, let me bring up the report. Got to click on inbox. We did have some glitches along the way that were technological. We had 3 of the 4 phone lines drop out for half of Friday. It was a Frontier issue. Fortunately, we had 1 line that worked. It was a Frontier issue, and they did get fixed. It rained Thursday night. And then there was a problem with the online donation. They were going into it fine. It's just the emails that we got notifying that someone had given a donation weren't working. Rose had to work triple duty this time and log in all the time, whether at home or at work, to keep an eye on ones that had been received. We hadn't received notification of it, so she could then enter and notify. This is also the 5th drive, where we are doing it using an electronic Google Sheet for logging the names to read on the air. So we have phone answerers, we have 1 or 2 volunteers in, but they were downstairs in different rooms. Take the phone call, log it in on the computer, and then we see it upstairs. That's been going fairly well. And let's see, the other, yes. Any other comments, Rose?
No, I think, as I had said to Kurt, I think the weather really, it was so beautiful. There's so many fairs going on, as was not the case last year. You know, the Durham Fair, Guilford had a big outdoor thing, the Big E is going on, and people are out spending money. So I think that hurt us a little bit. I did suggest we should look into going back into October, when maybe the weather isn't as beautiful as September is. So we have some things to adjust, I think. But all in all, it went well.
Yeah, we had $61,000. We had 54 brand new members. We had donors all the way from England to anybody on the West Coast this time. Just a lot of great donors.
We did, and actually we did add a couple of Founders Society members, so that was nice.
True, we had 2 new people that during the drive gave up to the $1,000 level. They'd given the lower levels before. I just signed the 2 letters now. So it went well. It went well.
Sounds great.
As a side note, while we were doing our 4-day drive, WSHU had started right before us a 10-day drive. So, of course, they're raising much more money, but It just, it's nice to get it done in 4 days and out. Easier on the staff, easier on the listeners.
Your gut suggests that the 4-day model will continue on.
Oh yeah, we'll keep doing that.
Several of the listeners in this area really like the 4-day. Right to the point, pledge, over.
Sure. Let's see. So that's it for my September fundraising drive. Cindy did a great job. A lot of people pitched in, did extra time. So
Want to move on to the fiscal year 2022 final report?
yes. So right now, the most recent fiscal numbers to give you would only have been through, believe it or not, the month of July. We have rough numbers every day of the week, but the bookkeeper likes to give numbers that have a balance to the bank statement. And because of a staffing change, an unexpected staffing change at the town hall, somebody who would do part of that reconciliation, make adjusting entries, since they lost that person, we haven't had anything updated. The last set of numbers we have are through the end of July. But it's not an issue. We can wait because the numbers are just fine. Thank you. We've got plenty of money. So the one thing I did want to give you was this is the final actual numbers for the fiscal year ending June 30th. We had back in May, we guessed what final numbers would be, and these are them. And this is very close to what we estimated the numbers would be. So I don't have to review it too much, except for the fact that, again, as I'd already said, when we had the budget approved in May, running the fiscal year with in very good shape with a lot of extra funds. And let's see, so somebody's got a drone sound in the background. Who do you think it might be, Mark? Do you want to try muting somebody and see if the droning sound goes away? We'll do one at a time. Maybe it's you, Mark.
Mine, so I think it's not me.
I'm on my end. I can see it's saying Fred is talking. Fred, can you mute yourself?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Thank you.
So just unmute yourself when you're going to talk. Okay, let's keep it short and sweet. So the one thing I will mention in terms of financial impact is that in the budget, we had put in, where's the document here? Right, so in the proposed budget, we have, the one that we sent out just now didn't have the proposed budget. Oh yes, here it is in the middle. The budget, no, actually it doesn't have the FY 2021 budget, 22 budget, which is with the fiscal year we're in now. The point is, given all this extra cash, I'd expect the budget that was approved had a $43,000 deficit, which is tapping into some of the cash reserves. But we received in July, or was it August? I lose track. We received a $50,000 donation. So at this point, we won't be potentially dropping into cash reserves at all, or we might drop into a little. So we're in even better financial shape. Sorry, that's a reminder that I didn't open up the text message. So let's see, moving on. Did I put down vote anticipated on the financial report?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so I guess I would ask that someone make a motion and second it that they accept the report, the financial report.
You about to say something, Betty?
Ms. Bikini, Commission Member Nixon.
Thank you, Betty. How about you, Fred?
Yeah, I thought she was going to say more. Yeah, I second the motion and say we accept it as it stands right now.
So we
All in
need a
favor?
vote.
Aye.
I thought that.
Okay, the WMNR budget is accepted as presented. Actually, the final numbers, final report.
Right. I don't have my agenda handy here among all my tabs. What's next?
We're going to move
Oh,
on
here it
to
is.
section C, which is a CPB diversity statement.
Right. So a couple of years ago, the Corporation of Public Broadcasting, which gives us the $77,000 annual grant, required all grant recipients to have a diversity plan, and in which they report on their diversity and what plans they're going to do to increase their diversity. And that plan needs to be approved and then posted on our website by October 1. This one is very similar to last year's. The Corporation of Public Broadcasting feels that some of the boards for the standalone public radio and TV stations aren't diverse enough. I basically spend time in this document explaining that the town council is elected by the voters, so it is what it is, that the WMNR commission has to be Monroe residents, and they have to be appointed, and they have to fulfill certain political party affiliations, so it is what it is. I do report on all of those, what the ethnic makeup is, and then I also do the same for WMNR staff and show the diversity information for WMNR employees and volunteers. It's one of those things. Anybody has any questions?
I had a chance to look it up before. It looks good to me as presented.
So if there'd be someone would like to make a motion to approve it and someone else would second it, then we could vote on it. You could vote on it.
All right, I'll Commission Member Fred Velarde, I make a motion to accept the diversity plan for 2021 as written.
I'll second it. I being the Ms. Bikini Commission. We'll switch.
Thank you both. So all in favor, say aye. The ayes have
We
it.
say aye or hold her hand.
Pardon me?
Well, the video record will show you raised your hand, so that's fine.
Great. Thank you. So the CPB diversity statement has been approved. So we'll continue moving on to section D, which is the Mount Kisco translator.
So when we met last on May 4th, we were hoping to get the off-air permission extended. We did. Bought $1,800 worth of batteries to use at that site to keep it on the air for a couple of days. The old site for the Mount Kisco translator, where the antenna is still up on a water tower. We brought in and so that worked. The FCC accepted it. They granted an extension for another year with 6 months at a time. And we've then since moved those batteries to West Haven, where they're helping to keep that translator on the air for a day, for a couple of hours or a day if there's a power outage. I had it moved to West Haven because it's the translator that covers the most number of people. It is a little isolated. There's no generator at that site. It is a little isolated, and there's plenty of room to put a whole bunch of heavy batteries. So that's why we chose to put the batteries there. And so right now the Mount Kisco translator, the lease has been was forwarded a while ago to the town's telecommunications real estate attorney, Rosemark Law. I did talk to Daniel Rosemark a month ago. He's about the Mount Kisco proposed lease. He's going to Well, he was going to get working on it as soon as he finished something else. I'm going to send a reminder email. So we don't, it's in progress. When he'll actually finish dealing with it, I don't know, but once Daniel Rosemark says it's a good deal, the town will believe him because he's worked in the telecommunications business doing towers for a long time, and he knows what a good deal is, what an appropriate deal is for the leasee. So I would hope that maybe we'd have Mount Kisco on by January 1, but might go February 1 or March 1. It's dragging on.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Let's see.
moving pieces there. It's difficult to make everything just fit into a nice, neat schedule.
Yeah. Moving on to the new WMNR 88.1 FM transmitter, I'll let Mark speak to that.
Mark, do we lose you?
I'm still here. The new Untitled transmitter has been installed at the Stepney transmitter. I did several stages of burn-in on that transmitter. So we're in the home stretch. Will be meeting with another consulting engineer, John Ramsey, who does a lot of consulting work in the state of Connecticut, to do a final inspection to make sure things are all just to double check my work, and we should be able to light up that transmitter up very soon. And we'll be meeting with Monroe Electric this Friday to service the surge protector that covers the Stepney transmitter building, just to make sure to protect the electronic equipment that we have on premise. Do you have any other questions?
Would you consider
John?
that surge protector a wear item that needs to be replaced periodically, or is it?
There's modules in the surge protector that do give a indication when the modules have failed.
Excellent.
So it's not like your surge protector you get from the Best Buy. This is a whole building, the enterprise grade surge protector that protects the entire building, not just a device by device.
Excellent.
Just want to make sure we protect our investment that we have with the new equipment. But the new transmitter seems to do quite nice. When we do lose power, it turns itself back on within like 30 seconds, whereas the old transmitter takes 3 or 4 minutes for it to warm up and come up to speed before I can start the transmitting again.
Actually, the old one, I had to kick back on. It wouldn't turn itself back on after power failure.
Yeah, the old one, you have to wait a few minutes before it will allow you to turn it back on. But the new Nautel turns itself back on automatically without any human intervention, and it does so within like 30 seconds. So it's a tremendous improvement, and it uses a lot less power, which will save on the electric bill. So if anything, in the winter, we would have to run electric heat to heat the building because it doesn't create as much heat as the old transmitter.
But less air conditioning, probably.
Yes, and it was in the summer, it would save money because we don't have to air condition to heat the place as much. So
What's the efficiency of it, Mark?
Kurt, I have a question also for Mark.
Yeah.
Did John Ramsey work on our new model somewhere else ahead of time?
Yes, he's done those installs in Greylock for Albany. WFCR put one in.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nautel brand is a very popular brand of transmitter. It's on the higher end of transmitters. There's other brands out there that are cheaper and the less efficient, but the Nautel is like the one the best you can get. And we have a Nautel out in Guilford that we are well versed, that we are familiar with the brand, which makes management easier because it's the same software that runs both transmitters.
Great.
Any
Thank
other
you.
questions, John?
I have a question under new business, so I'll wait till then.
Okay. Yes, Brian?
I was just thanking Mark for his explanation.
And it's the Nautel I can access remotely, and I had a support question for them, so I called up Nautel. They did a remote session with me, and they will help remotely diagnose and help me make some tweaks to the transmitter without ever having to go on site. So it made things tremendously easier. The older stuff, you had to do a boots on the ground on premise to see what exactly is going on. So it's the way of the new world. I'm sure, Brian, you can sort of appreciate the ability to remotely do things remotely without having to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's a night and day change, and the boot time is a remarkable change. I mean, you think of how confusing it is. Somebody might wait around for 30 seconds to see if they've got their radio tuned properly, but you know, for a couple of minutes, you're going to lose them. They're going to go elsewhere, and you always are nervous that if they go elsewhere, they'll never come back. So I think that's great. Thank you. So I guess that wraps up the transmitter piece, unless anybody else has any questions. Okay, then moving on, we're going to go on to section F regarding the WMNR staffing changes. Kurt, would you take this?
Yes, thank you. Yes, I just want to let the WMNR Commission know that as a concept, but the details haven't been approved yet, that the first selectman is open to having reviewed, having some staffing changes be made at WMNR that I have proposed. Let's see, I'm proposing pending town council approval because it involves rewriting job descriptions. And town council approves job descriptions for all part-time and full-time non-seasonal employees. That I would go half-time around Jan 1, and at that same time, somebody who's currently half-time would go full-time. Cindy Carlson, who's been working half-time since 2017, is major gifts in communications, is at her youngest go to college, so she's got a little more time and she's willing to go full-time. She does a great job. She's been doing a great job for the last 4 years, half-time. And I know she'll be twice as good when she's full-time because she'll be working twice as much. Right now she's working 17 hours and she'll be working 35 hours full-time. In order to go through the details, I have to have do new job descriptions. My job description is so old it isn't even worth talking about. But the town council will want to have everyone's job description updated. First, before it goes to town council, HR and the first selectman will get them looking good, and then they'll run them by the WMNR commission, and it's December meeting, and then the town council. It's the Corporation for Public Broadcasting grant, which is about $77,000 a year. I mentioned that earlier. It allows for, it requires for us to have 2 full-time paid people and 2 full-time equivalents, meaning part-time people that add up to full-time. Right now, WMNR has 2 full-time and about 4.3 full-time equivalents. We have a lot of part-timers because A, we don't need somebody full-time. B, we have a lot of different jobs at different times of the day, particularly control board ops. And so it works out better for us to have a lot of part-timers. But Corporation Public Broadcasting requires 2 full-time, and so we will be, it doesn't require that the general manager be full-time, just that there be 2 full-time. So that's what I'm proposing. If anybody has any questions about it.
As long as you're okay, it sounds like since it's your plan, we'll assume that you're okay and not really for too many questions, but obviously we care so much about you that we always want to put you first.
Stick to your guns, Kurt. Don't let the town mess you around.
No, I want to go half-time. I'm 67, don't need the health insurance, but I still want to make sure, I want to hang around for a little while longer to make sure this thing that I love so much keeps working well.
Keeps you healthy.
Any questions, Fred?
Good job, Kurt.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Any questions, Fred?
No, it sounds fine to me. So
Great. Just
Well,
want to
thank you
check.
for letting us know,
Yeah.
Kurt. We trust you so much in your master planning that we think you'll know better than the rest of us, but appreciate you running it past us because obviously we'll get questions on this somewhere down the line.
Sure.
So thank you. So if we're set there, we'll move on to section 4, the new business section. There's only one line item in section 4, and that's about the generator donation. Who wants to bring us up to date on that?
Let's see. So we're having the Monroe Electric, the town's preferred electrician, the electrician who actually did the electrical work on the current generator that we have at the tower, the WMNR tower. He's coming out Friday to change the modules, and I'm going to ask him then to do to give us an estimate for putting in the second generator. That'll give us a second quote. We have one that a general contractor friend of Mark's has given us, and we'll get one from him, and then that'll allow us then to move forward. So finally, it looks like we'll be able to take care of the paperwork and then move forward on getting this the generator installed.
What's our hopes for being online?
Oh, I'm not going to go there. I mean, I think once he gives me a piece of paper with a quote, I then have to fill out a whole bunch of paperwork if it's going to be more than $10,000. But I think the town would sign off on it within a matter of 2 weeks because the Monroe Electric is I'll use this term unofficially, a preferred contractor for the town of Monroe. So there aren't any questions, whatever. Does a lot of work for the town, known person. So I think it'll go right through. Then it's just a matter of his schedule.
I wasn't trying to hold you down to a commitment. I was just trying to get a feel for whether we think it'll be in place for this coming winter season or whether that's
I think it could be.
The biggest concern issue I could see is from talking to my contractor friend is the amount of some of these contracts are booked out months in advance. So it's not, the issue is just getting the manpower, getting a contractor to schedule us in. So we might be able to discuss with the couple of various contractors to see what type of prep work we can do to see if that could potentially help expedite things.
Yep. Everybody in every area is experiencing delays because of needing talent or needing parts. So it's easy to forget that. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, I know at the University of New Haven, there are several projects here that are on hold simply because the contractors simply can't get the parts to complete the project because there's just delays and all across the board. So fortunately for the generator project, there's nothing terribly exotic. It's just trying to get the manpower to do the construction work.
A quick comment on enhancing that, Brian, is that today on something like an emergency generator, you can't take it out of service till you know you've got every part in hand. You can't, take it down or do anything just in general. The crossover has to be carefully managed to make sure that doesn't happen. So it gets even trickier in the environment we're in now.
For sure.
And that's part of why we'll be setting things up. So we'd have 2 generators. One would become the Johnny's donated generator will become the primary standby generator, and the current generator will remain site as a backup generator. So we will always have some sort of generator available for use.
Yeah, that was approved in the last minutes as far as the concept of, as long as the cost doesn't go crazy. I think we were talking about maybe allowing $3,000 if that would suffice. But if it turned out to be something crazy expensive, you'd have to think twice about that, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll find out when we get the quotes.
Great plan. Some of the preliminary stuff, you pouring cement pads or running conduit or doing any of that stuff in advance, or?
Well, you can once you get a building permit, which the electrician would have to file for.
Gotcha.
And while the town can waive the town fees, there's still like $3 in state fees that have to be paid. Yes, he's done work for the town before he can make it happen if he ends up being the one that does it.
So if we do, when Monroe Electric does their work, I can ask them to see if there's any sort of prep work what type of prep work that I could do to try to help expedite things, to make their work a little bit easier. And this to see what we can do to try to kick this up a notch.
Right, because if there's cement work, you have to get that in before frost, right? So that's one thing that'd be nice to get done ASAP,
Yeah.
Another tricky aspect is you can't use the generator during the downtime, because then that would put power back through the module box surge protector. So that's a very critical time to have lesser but suitable emergency power handy, because you don't want the generator kicking on when you're moving the wires over and changing the modules. So that's another minuet that you have to dance and get the thing done within a window.
Right. So, for example, the modules, we'll have to bring down the house power. The town equipment will keep up for half a day. I was going to bring over a kilowatt generator I've got, but Mark says the built-in UPS ought to last for the 300 watt QEI. The backup QEI ought to last for at least an hour. So I'll still have the kilowatt generator there, but so for a short time changeover, we've got enough UPSs on hand to keep things going. I mean,
Okay, good.
M&R will be only want a 1/3 power on a UPS, but that'll cover us for when they're having to take both a generator offline while they're doing work, moving the wires.
I have a 6.5 kVA if you need it.
Well, no, we actually need a kilowatt will keep the low power stuff on just fine.
But thank you, Brian. That would be if we need to do extended the transitions. That would be helpful to keep the low power stuff energized.
So your 6.5 kilowatts got a 20 or 30 amp twist lock on it?
It is a
220?
I can't remember off the top of my head whether it's 20 or 30 amp to 220, but yes, roughly.
Okay, great. Well, that would keep our new main transmitter on the air, which has a 220 twist lock on it.
You got about 7 hours of fuel in the tank and regular gasoline, and it is electric start too. So.
Oh, electric, that's nice. I mean, that just covers for a prolonged outage. So, great, thanks.
Sure. Okay, moving on from generator to the public participation section. John, would you like to speak?
Yeah, one is just a comment. The tower, we probably mentioned before, the guy wires were retension, which was a required maintenance move. And during this time of all of these higher powered storms and everything else, most places you see around are not prepared until something actually happens. And the thing that I'm happy with the most is we got our tower upgraded before we've been confronted with heavier duty storms and things like that. That's very rare in most institutions, most agencies, and even commercial industry. They don't do anything until something forces them to do it. So I'm happy with that particular step that we say we did the maximum code. Okay. The other topic is license renewals coming up pretty quick now, and that's got a lot of super critical drop dead dates. And these long delays with paperwork won't work. And the only solution I can think of is starting the license renewal paperwork now and have it ready ahead of time.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mention that. I've already sent to the first selectman to send out to the town council members questionnaires that need to be answered. 3 forms are due at the FCC on December 1, a renewal form, a biannual ownership report, and an EEO form. So that's started, and the first selectman, the town attorney, knows there's a required deadline that cannot be moved. So it has been started.
It's important that people know that the FCC is very unhappy when people mess up the license renewal dates. It is not a good thing. And guess when license renewal occurs? License renewal occurs right after the new town council goes into office.
Well, it really doesn't matter. They need to vote and approve the forms to be submitted by early to November. So, yeah, and it has to do with who's on the town council as of October 1.
Yeah.
I'm told one town council member will not be going for re-election. Don't know who it is, don't care. It's just who it is as of October 1. And then just to show that we're on top of it, 3 months later, December 1 is the deadline for Connecticut stations and translators. 3 months later, February 1 is the deadline for our New York state translators. And we currently have 5 of them. So then there'll be further filings that'll be due Feb 1 for the translators in New York State. It's good we don't any Massachusetts, Rhode Island. They give us the 3rd date to have to hit.
Well, very good. Any other public participation? Anybody else want to join in?
No.
John, have you covered all your topics? Carol?
I haven't got anything. Yep, everything's covered.
Great.
Everything's in good shape, so
Jane,
Betty?
Rose, all good?
Yep.
Still with us, Rose?
I'm here.
Any questions, anything you want to add to the discussion?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for taking the minutes tonight again. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Or I assume you did. So that's great. I guess it's time to wrap up then. We'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All right, I, Elizabeth Healy, member of the commission, make a motion to adjourn. And Brian, I don't know the time.
We've got 7:52 p.m., perhaps a new record.
Well, perhaps.
7:52.
Commission member Fred Vardy. I second Betty's motion to adjourn, if that's possible.
Terrific. Meeting adjourned. We'll call it 7:52 p.m. Thank you, everybody.